Okay, so right now we're dealing with this Australian curriculum standard, which is to do with finding the midpoint and gradient of a line segment or an interval on the Cartesian plane. But we're not going to talk about gradient right now, we're just going to talk about this first part, the midpoint. So for now I'll just cross out this gradient part. Talking about this midpoint, and I'll underline that. That's not that clear, I'll just leave it. Okay, well first off, what is a line segment? Line segment? I don't know. A line segment is just, a segment or a piece between 2 points. So let's pick 2 points, that one and that one. The line segment would just be the thing, the line, segment of a line joining those 2 points. So we could call this point 1, call this point 2. Point 1 is 2 across. Is it 2 across and 1 up? And now point 2 is at 5 across and 3 up. And again, we're always talking about x, y. X, just like they come in the alphabet, x, y, z. Anyway, so what would be the midpoint? Well, looking at it, we could say, well, the midpoint's somewhere around there. So just by eye, we could say it's about there, and we could guess approximately equal to 3.5 across and 2 up. What comes after guess? Well, check does, of course. Now, this is pretty common sense stuff, so I'm not actually going to spend too long on it because you should be able to, I can imagine you're already having ideas in your own head about how to approach this question. Well, the midpoint, here's a key point. Midpoint of line is halfway between x coords and halfway between y coords. So, well, the x coordinates are these ones, aren't they? Halfway between 2 and 5, and the y coordinates are these ones. 1 and 3. So if we just think about our kind of number line here, we've got 2 and 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So halfway between is going to be 3.5, isn't it? Another more formal way to do that would be to take the average of the 2 points. Av of 2 and 5 is the same as saying just add them together over 2. 7 over 2 equals 3.5. Then the midpoint of a line, and now we're halfway between the y coordinates, so 1 and 3, 1. Let's take a line. 2, 3. We're going to be at 2, aren't we? Again, let's check that. The average of 1 and 3 equals 1 plus 3 over 2 equals 4 over 2 equals 2. So we know that our coordinates, therefore, midpoint coords equals, in our x-axis, I should call this x and this y. It probably would have been clearer if I drew this like this, wouldn't it? 1 and 3, 2 as the midpoint, because our y-axis goes in this direction. Y. But that's okay. Hopefully you understood that. So our x coordinate was 3.5, 3.5, and our y coordinate was 2. How does that compare to what we had? 3.5, 2. Great, so guess was correct. So that's all you have to do. You just have to say, well, what's halfway between the x's and what's halfway between the y's, and then put them together. Super easy. Let's have another think. Just briefly, one other example. Okay. Okay, so let's have a look at this, another example. Let's go from here to here. Now, this is a bit harder. Oh, no, it isn't. Let's make it even harder. Let's go there. It's a bit hard to draw those straight lines on an angle, isn't it? So, what have we got? We could go point, call that point 3 and point 4. So, point 3 is at negative 2, negative 1, negative 2, negative 1, and point 4, I'll draw them above each other so I can do the same thing I did before. Point 4 is at 1.5 and 2 up. Okay, so, well, let's midpoint. Guess. I'm going to say somewhere around here. So that's about 0.75. And how far up? 0.25. So, first off, I'll do it in the same colours as before. Difference in, okay, so midpoint halfway between x values is from, where were we? From negative 2 to 1.5, negative 2 to 1.5. Well, it's a bit hard to immediately see what's the middle between them, isn't it? So we'll just do the average. Average negative 2 and 1.5 equals negative 2 plus 1.5 over 2. Negative 2, well, that's going to be, we're at negative 2, and then we go forwards 1, so at negative 1, then we go forwards another half, so that's negative 0.5 over 2, and then we have to halve that, so it's negative 0.25. When we look at this line, that doesn't look right, does it? We'd expect it to be here somewhere. So let's check our points. Point 3, negative 2. Oh, here we go. We got the coordinates around the wrong way. Should I say, I got the coordinates around the wrong way. Point 3. I was trying to rush, wasn't I? I hope you spotted that. Negative 1 here, negative 1 across, negative 2 down. Okay, so now we can fix this up with negative 1 and negative 1 plus 1.5. Did you spot it? Negative 1 plus 1.5 equals 0.5, which over 2 is 0.25. Negative 1 there. Okay, great. Now, we've got negative 2 to 2. Negative 2 to 2. Halfway between the y coordinates, values are negative 2 to 2. And it's pretty easy for us to immediately see that that's just equal to 0, isn't it? So we can say, therefore, midpoint of point 3 and point 4 is at x coordinate, which is 0.25, y coordinate, x first, y coordinate, 0. So we're actually 0.25, 0 there. 0.25, 0. So that's how we find the midpoint of a line segment on the Cartesian plane. Great.